They say love is blind, but I never thought it would make me completely oblivious to the woman I married, turning our home into her personal playground for affairs. My name is Alex, I'm 34 years old, and I'm a software engineer living in Austin, Texas. For 3 years, I thought I had the perfect marriage with Rebecca, my college sweetheart, who became a successful marketing director. I used to come home every evening to her warm smile, asking about my day while she cooked dinner. We'd watch Netflix together, plan weekend trips, and talk about buying a house with a big backyard for the kids we wanted to have. Rebecca was everything I thought I wanted, beautiful, ambitious, and seemingly devoted to our future together. But last Tuesday morning, everything I believed about my marriage shattered with a single notification sound. I was running late for work, grabbing my laptop from the kitchen counter, when Rebecca's phone buzzed with a text message. The screen lit up, and I glanced over automatically, the way you do when you're married and privacy feels less important than efficiency. The message was from someone named Jake M. and it read, "Can't wait to see you tonight. David's working late again, perfect timing." I froze. David. That was my name, but I wasn't working late that night. I had specifically told Rebecca I'd be home early because I wanted to surprise her with dinner reservations at our favorite restaurant. My hands trembled as I picked up her phone. The message thread revealed everything. Months of planning secret meetings, intimate photos I'd never seen, and detailed discussions about when I'd be out of town for work conferences. But Jake M. wasn't the only contact. There was also Ryan_Jim, Marcus_Coffee, E. and Tom_Neighbor. Each thread told the same story, Rebecca coordinating affairs with multiple men while I was working 60-hour weeks to save for our dream house. And if you've ever discovered that the person you trust most in the world has been living a completely different life behind your back, then you'll understand why what happened next changed everything. But before I tell you how I used my tech skills to expose the most elaborate cheating scheme I've ever seen, hit that subscribe button, because this digital revenge story is about to get absolutely explosive. I stood in our kitchen, Rebecca's phone in my hands, scrolling through months of betrayal. Each message was a knife to my chest, but I forced myself to read everything. I needed to understand the full scope of what she'd been doing. The most shocking discovery was how organized she was. Rebecca had created a detailed schedule in her notes app, tracking my work meetings, business trips, and evening commitments. She'd planned her affairs around my life with the precision of a military operation. Tuesday 7 p.m. Jake, David in Dallas until Thursday, Friday afternoon Ryan, David's team building event, Saturday morning Marcus, David's gaming tournament. She'd turned my predictable work schedule into her cheating calendar. But the worst part wasn't just the affairs, it was the way she talked about me. In one message to Jake, she wrote, "David's so clueless. He works all the time and barely notices when I'm gone. Perfect husband material, stable, boring, and completely blind." To Ryan, "I love how reliable David is. He pays all the bills while I get to have actual fun. Best of both worlds." I took screenshots of everything, my software engineer brain automatically organizing the evidence into folders. Photos, messages, call logs, location data. I documented it all while Rebecca was in the shower, completely unaware that her secret life was being systematically archived. When she came downstairs, wrapped in her bathrobe with damp hair, she looked so innocent. So normal. Like the woman I'd fallen in love with in college, not the stranger who'd been betraying me for months. "Morning, baby," she said, kissing my cheek. "Don't forget you're working late tonight. I'm having dinner with Sarah." Sarah. I'd seen the messages. There was no dinner with Sarah. Tonight was Jake's night, and I was supposedly in Dallas. "Actually," I said, keeping my voice steady, "the Dallas trip got cancelled. I'll be home normal time." For just a second, I saw panic flash across her face. Then she recovered, smiling brightly. "Oh, great. We can have a quiet night in." I nodded, kissed her goodbye, and left for work. But instead of going to my office, I drove to a coffee shop and started planning the most comprehensive digital investigation of my life. Using my professional network, I contacted a private investigator who specialized in infidelity cases. I also reached out to my lawyer friend Mike, who'd helped me with some contract work the previous year. "Alex," Mike said when I called him, "are you sure you want to go down this road? Sometimes it's better to just confront her directly." "I need to know everything," I replied. If I'm going to blow up my marriage, I want to make sure I have all the facts. The private investigator, a woman named Carmen, was incredibly thorough. Within a week, she'd confirmed what I already suspected. Rebecca was seeing multiple men, using our joint credit cards to pay for hotel rooms, and had even opened a secret social media account where she posted photos from her dates while I was supposedly out of town. But Carmen discovered something I hadn't expected. Rebecca had been photographing important documents from my home office, client contracts, financial records, and proprietary code from my software projects. She wasn't just cheating on me, she was potentially stealing from my employer. Your wife might be involved in corporate espionage, Carmen told me. These aren't random photos. Someone's paying her to gather specific information about your company's projects. The betrayal was deeper than I'd imagined. Rebecca hadn't just been unfaithful, she'd been using our marriage as cover for potential criminal activity. That night, I came home to find Rebecca cooking dinner, humming softly while she stirred pasta sauce. She looked so peaceful, so content. I wondered if she'd always been this good at lying, or if deception was a skill she'd developed over time. "How was your day?" she asked, not looking up from the stove. "Interesting," I said. "I learned a lot about digital security and how people can steal information without others knowing." She glanced at me, something flickering in her eyes. "Sounds boring." "Actually, it's fascinating. Did you know that most data theft happens through people close to the victim? Spouses, family members, trusted friends. People who have access to private information." Rebecca's stirring slowed. "Really?" "Yeah. And the best part is how easy it is to track these days. Digital footprints, location data, financial records, everything leaves a trail if you know where to look." She turned off the burner and faced me. "Why are you telling me this?" I smiled. "Just making conversation. By the way, how was dinner with Sarah last night?" "It was fine," she said quickly. "We went to that new Italian place downtown." "Funny," I said, pulling out my phone. "Because Sarah posted on Instagram last night. She was at home with the flu. Looked pretty miserable." Rebecca's face went pale. Maybe I got confused. It might have been a different night. "Or maybe," I said, my voice getting quieter, "you weren't with Sarah at all." The silence stretched between us. I could see her calculating, trying to figure out how much I knew. "David," she said finally, "if you have something to say, just say it." I pulled out a folder I'd prepared and set it on the kitchen counter. "I know about Jake. And Ryan. And Marcus. And Tom from down the street. I know about the hotel rooms, the secret social media account, and the photos you've been taking of my work documents." Rebecca's composure cracked. "You've been spying on me?" "I've been protecting myself," I replied. "Just like you've been protecting your secrets." She straightened her shoulders, and for a moment, I saw a different person entirely. Colder. More calculating. "What do you want?" "I want you to pack your things and leave. Tonight. I've already spoken to a lawyer, and I'm filing for divorce. I'm also reporting the document theft to my company's security team." "You can't prove anything," she said. I opened the folder and pulled out printed screenshots. "Actually, I can prove everything. Every message, every photo, every hotel receipt. I've got 3 months of evidence, Rebecca. Your affair partners, your real location data, and most importantly, timestamps on when you photographed my work documents." Her face went white. "David, we can work this out. I made mistakes, but..." "You didn't make mistakes," I interrupted. "You made calculated decisions. Every single day for months, you chose to betray me. You chose to steal from my employer. You chose to build a relationship with me based on lies." Rebecca sat down heavily at the kitchen table. "What about the house? Our savings?" "The house is in my name. I bought it before we got married." "The savings account you've been using for hotel rooms?" "I've already moved my portion to a separate account. Your affair budget just got cut off." Her eyes flashed with anger. "You bastard. You think you're so smart with your little investigation. Smart enough to discover that you've been stealing from me in more ways than one," I replied. "And smart enough to make sure you face consequences for both the cheating and the theft." The next morning, Rebecca was gone. She'd packed 2 suitcases and left her key on the kitchen counter. I found out later she'd gone to stay with Jake, the one who'd been so excited about my work trips. But my revenge wasn't finished. I'd learned that Rebecca had been sharing information about my company's projects with someone who was selling trade secrets to competitors. The document theft wasn't just personal, it was corporate espionage. I turned over all my evidence to my company's security team and the FBI. Within 2 weeks, they'd traced the information leaked to a network of corporate spies who were using romantic relationships to gather intelligence. Rebecca was arrested along with 3 other people, including Jake, who turned out to be an industrial spy specializing in tech company infiltration. The news made local headlines: software engineer exposes corporate espionage ring through infidelity investigation. But the most satisfying part wasn't seeing Rebecca face criminal charges. It was what happened to her digital footprint. Remember those secret social media accounts she'd been using to document her affairs? I'd gained access to them during my investigation. Before turning the evidence over to authorities, I'd compiled a comprehensive archive of her posts, messages, and photos. When Rebecca's affairs became part of the criminal investigation, her social media accounts were subpoenaed as evidence. Every photo she'd posted, every message she'd sent, every lie she'd told became part of the public record. Her friends, family, and coworkers all learned about her double life not through gossip or speculation, but through official court documents. There was no way to deny it, no way to spin it, no way to claim she'd been misunderstood. Jake, Ryan, Marcus, and Tom all learned about each other through the investigation. None of them had known they were part of a rotation. The man she'd convinced was her real relationship discovered he was just one of many. 6 months later, I was sitting in my home office, the same room where Rebecca had photographed my work documents, when I got a call from my lawyer. "The divorce is final," Mike told me. Rebecca pled guilty to corporate espionage and received 2 years probation plus community service. She's also banned from working in any tech-related field. What about the civil case? She's ordered to pay restitution to your company for the stolen information. Between that and her legal fees, she's financially ruined. I hung up the phone and looked around my office. It was quiet, peaceful. No one was plotting against me, stealing from me, or lying to me. For the first time in months, I felt completely safe in my own home. The story made waves in the tech community. I was invited to speak at cybersecurity conferences about personal digital security and how to protect sensitive information from people with intimate access to your life. But the real victory wasn't the speaking engagements or the media attention. It was reclaiming my life from someone who'd been systematically destroying it while pretending to build a future with me. A year later, I met Sarah, the real Sarah, not the fake dinner companion Rebecca had invented. She was a fellow software engineer who understood the value of honesty, transparency, and genuine partnership. When I told her about Rebecca, she listened without judgment and said, "I'm glad you protected yourself. Too many people stay in situations where they're being exploited because they're afraid of being alone." I was afraid, I admitted. But I was more afraid of spending my life with someone who saw me as a target rather than a partner. Today, I'm remarried to someone who shares my values, respects my work, and would never dream of betraying my trust. We have an open phone policy, shared financial accounts, and most importantly, we've built our relationship on complete honesty. Rebecca tried to contact me once, about 6 months after her arrest. She sent a long email apologizing and asking if we could talk things through. I deleted it without reading the whole thing. I'm not interested in closure or forgiveness or understanding her motivations. I'm interested in building a life with someone who values what we're creating together instead of calculating how to destroy it. The best revenge isn't hurting the people who hurt you. It's building something so genuine, so secure, and so fulfilling that their betrayal becomes just a brief chapter in your much larger story of success and happiness. Rebecca taught me that love without trust is just performance art. But she also taught me that I'm capable of protecting myself, fighting back strategically, and rebuilding from even the most devastating betrayal. Sometimes the people who betray us give us the greatest gift of all, the motivation to demand better for ourselves and the courage to walk away from anyone who doesn't value what we bring to their life. What do you think about Alex's digital investigation? Was his revenge justified, or should he have handled it differently? Share your thoughts in the comments below, And don't forget to subscribe for more stories about turning betrayal into triumph. Sometimes the most high-tech problems require the most old-fashioned solution, refusing to accept less than you deserve.